Hey guys, Ambience here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to beat Circus Baby and Nightmare Fredbear in FNaF VR Help Wanted. While the second half of Night Terrors isn't quite as tough as the first, there's still a whole bunch of stuff to go over here, so let's jump into this final set of normal levels. So, Baby's level is a bit terrifying at first glance, but ironically it might also be the easiest level in the whole game. This time you're actually in the FNaF 4 closet, and it's back to classic sit and survive. Baby patrols the room in front of you, eventually notices you, and rushes over. Then you have to close the closet door, which agitates the plush babies in the closet with you more and more the longer it's shut. Thankfully, Baby just so happens to have a worse memory than a sleep-deprived infant bumblebee with dementia and will repeatedly forget where you are after a few seconds, going back to the center of the room and repeating the process. And that's basically it. Wait for her to notice you, close the door for long enough to get rid of her, but not long enough to get killed by the plush babies, rinse and repeat. How long is too long exactly? Well, let's go over some numbers real quick. As it turns out, this is the shortest night in the entire FNaF series with a total length of just 2 minutes flat, 120 seconds. 120 divided by 6 is 20, so each hour is 20 seconds long. Upon reaching the closet, Baby will leave after exactly 5 seconds on the frame, so you can open the closet after those 5 seconds. If you want to play it safe, you can actually go a total of 9 seconds with the closet closed at a time until the plush babies kill you, so feel free to wait an extra second or two. This timer gets fully reset as soon as the animation for reopening the closet finishes, which is a bit exploitable, as you might have guessed. If you want to go for a ridiculous playstyle that should guarantee Baby never sees you but has a slight chance of going wrong, then you can follow a pattern of shutting the closet for 7 to 8 seconds, opening it for 1 second, and then closing it for 7 or 8 again. The problem with this is that if you get unlucky enough, Baby can just happen to spot you right as you open the closet and just charge you down, and since you just brought the plush babies to the brink of psychosis, it probably won't go well. You won't be able to reset the counter in time, and you'll likely die. So here's what I recommend instead. Wait for Baby to spot you and shut the closet when she gets near. If she spawns super close to you, then close the door as soon as her eyes glow, but if she spawns a bit further away, then wait for her to run a bit closer. At this point, count to 5 seconds, maybe 6 or even 7 if you want to be safe, and open the door. She'll be gone and reset the pacing around, and from here you can just repeat the process until 6 AM. Do not open the door before those 5 seconds are up, and if you do and she's standing right there in front of you, immediately close it again and wait another 5 seconds from there. Now obviously a stopwatch is quite nice for all this, but if you can count accurately enough in your head, then that should do the trick too. Anyway, 2-minute night, super repetitive, you've got nothing to worry about. Nightmare Fredbear, meanwhile, is a return to the standard formula and works mostly the same as he did in FNaF 4. Picks a hallway, walks to the door, goes into a psychotic rage at the sight of your flashlight, you know the drill. When the night first starts, just sit there and wait until you hear footsteps. If you have headphones of some sort, those would definitely be helpful here, as you might be able to identify which side he's on through hearing. Regardless, keep the volume cranked pretty loud. This level tends to be really quiet for some reason, and the footsteps can easily blend in. If you can't tell what side he's on, just pick a door to check first, and if you don't find him there, go to the other one. How do you visually identify him? Well, that's a bit messy for a reason that I'll talk about in depth toward the end of this video, but the universal solution is to flash the hallway once so that you can see him. Holding the light on him speeds him up though, so make it quick. Anyway, once you know what side Fredbear's on, close the door and he'll despawn once he gets there. At that point, you should be able to open the door, but there's no real harm in keeping it closed either. Stay at the door and listen for more footsteps, but don't react immediately when you hear them. Quieter, sporadic footsteps mean Fredbear is moving around in the back and hasn't landed on a hallway yet. Once the footsteps become louder, deeper, and in a consistent pattern, he started walking down a hallway. Check the hall you're currently at first, and if you don't see him there, run to the other one and deal with him there. If you're a bit late on finding him, it's usually best to just close the door immediately once you've eliminated the other hall, since flashing while he's at the door is an instant death. Oh, also, you actually can hear him breathing when he's at a door, just like Funtime Freddy, so keep that in mind and make sure you're listening closely. The night is pretty much just a constant loop of this pattern, except for when you hear laughter. When you hear that, you'll want to turn around and flash the bed first, and hold the light on his head until it disappears if it's there. If it's not, run to the closet as soon as you can and close the door there without using the light and he'll go away. Unlike FNaF 4, there are no fake laughs in this mode, so never be fooled by simultaneous footsteps and laughter. He is always in the room. This night is 3 minutes long, so half the length of the nights in FNaF 4, but still noticeably longer than Baby's level. As long as you follow the strat, there should be nothing that can trip you up. Well, okay, remember that thing I brought up earlier that makes this level a bit messy? Well, here's what I meant by that. While testing this out, a friend and I discovered that Fredbear had different behavior for each of us, which isn't exactly normal for a game that hasn't been updated in several years. So we dug around a bit, and turns out that Help Wanted runs on a different patch depending on what platform you're playing on, and there are numerous differences between them. That is genuinely insane, and I have no idea why it's like that. I've never seen something like that in a modern game before, but that's just how it is. Obviously, this has a lot of implications for the rest of the game, but for now, I just want to focus on Fredbear. This design choice is really weird though, and definitely worth analyzing more, and I'd probably be willing to make an entire video on it at some point if I was able to learn enough about it. So if any Help Wanted experts know more about this than I do, then feel free to comment some info on it below, and I will get to that as soon as I can. So, what this means for Fredbear is that the ideal solution for dealing with him might change based on the platform you're on. On Steam, for example, you can't see his red glowing eyes in the hallway immediately, but can after a flash of your light, and a second flash teleports him to your door. On Oculus, on the other hand, which I play on and have recorded all these guides on, you can see his eyes from the very beginning, and one flash teleports him to the door. So, the solution that works for all platforms is to flash once, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best solution for your platform. You have to adapt. And this goes beyond the scope of this guide, definitely, but I think it's worth saying here and being a bit more candid about since we're getting closer to the end of the Help Wanted guides, and even FNaF Academy itself for that matter. And I don't know, I'm in a bit of a reflective mood, I guess. In any part of this game, or the earlier FNaF games for that matter, never be afraid to experiment and see what works. When I look back on my earlier guides, there's a lot of things I wish I knew when I was making them, new bits of information that have been discovered recently or we still don't have a real answer on yet, even today in some cases. And I think I could have discovered those things if I tried more ideas when I was actively playing, instead of just sticking to the way I always did the night or the way the community said was the best possible. Learning this about Help Wanted and its patches so late into these walkthroughs is one of those things that I wish I knew more about by doing more testing earlier. That would have been tremendously helpful. I really hope these guides are helpful to you anyway and have taught you at least some stuff, but they're not infallible. They never have been. I don't recommend relying on these as the ultimate resource. As much as I'd like to, I have difficulty keeping up with every comment nowadays, so if something that I say in one of these guides doesn't work the way I said it would for whatever reason, and I don't respond, then try something else. What I want you to try is modifying the strategy a bit or coming up with your own ideas, and I think that learning to do that is way more beneficial to you than any advice I could give you, to be honest. In fact, telling you to try that is probably the most important piece of advice I could ever give across this whole series. Anyway, I think I'll end on that for now. Next time we'll be covering Pizza Party, the game's various endings, tapes, and coins, and then we can finally move on to Curse of Dreadbear. Good luck, please subscribe if you haven't already and the content's been helping you out, maybe even buy a membership if you'd like to support the channel even more, join the Discord and all that, and thanks a bunch for getting me to almost 40k already. With that being said, thank you guys for watching this guide, I hope it helped you, and I will see you in the next one.